What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466 Cards back with another video. If you're new to the channel, I do a weekly video on something interesting in the sports card world from a more analytical perspective than what you might see elsewhere. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. Today, I'm going to be talking about 2021 Spectra Basketball Color Blast. And the gist of it is, there aren't that many available from what I can tell. And I am going to show you why. So I will jump right here to a different page and start off with my baseline, which is 2020 Color Blast. So you'll see here, I'm going to focus mostly on the rookies here. So here it'll be the LaMelo, Edwards, the Tyrese's, both Maxey and Halliburton. And if we look at the number of cards available, there's 9 total color blasts available right now. You can see the various, the two Tyrese's, Edwards, Cole Anthony, LaMelo, Wiseman, and then some helpful coding here, helpful additional words to clean this up to make it a pure result. And so you can see there, these are the 9 cards that are available online, on eBay. Sorry. Now, we now go over to 2021 checklist, and shout out to Cardboard Connection for their always very helpful data on checklists and odds and serial numbers and all that kind of good stuff. Very, very helpful website. We're going to focus on Cunningham, Mobley, the Jalen Suggs and Green, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey, Franz Wagner. And so if we do that, you can see there's actually only, and you can see here, here's the search that I did to, again, all the stuff here to clean stuff up. There's only 4 cards available that are color blast. You got this Scotty Barnes color blast, PSA 9. You have a Suggs, you have a Giddey, and you have a Mobley. So the one thing I will say is that this product was released not too long ago. Let's see what it says. It is October 21st. So I'm recording this video on December 30th. So 2 months and a week, basically, from when it was first released. Now, a lot of product gets ripped in that first month or two, so you would think that as you rip these things, more of these cards would show up, but they're not. But you're saying, well, there's not that big of a difference, right? You have 4 cards here, we have 9 cards here in terms of rookies. Sure, but now let's jump into the sales history, right? And so if we, and this again, let's jump right here. If we look at, again, the same search here, again, you can take a look at it. That really just, again, these terms are just to clean things up and remove non-color blast from it. You can see these 3 tabs here were my first attempt to make it happen, and it did not go as well. So attempt number 2, 3, 4. Here we go. So if we go down here, you can see there's only 10 cards available. Got a Cunningham here, a Barnes, a Mobley, a Franz, a couple of Giddies, and another Suggs, a Cade, and another Barnes, Giddey. That's it. 10 total. In the last 2 months. That seems really, really low. And if we look over here to the color blast for 2020, again, here's the search, just for full transparency, 43 items are in the history in the last 3+ months. And so you can see here, like, there's tons of these. What's interesting here is also, look at all of these Ant-Man color blasts being sold at PWCC at the same time. You go to December 4th one, PSA 10. Ant-Man, PSA 10, December 4th. Ant-Man, PSA 10, November 30th. Ant-Man, PSA 10, November 30th. Like on and on and on. You got a LaMelo here, another LaMelo here, you got a Maxey here, yada, 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 right? So there are a lot more available. You can see here all throughout November. You can keep on scrolling. And eventually you'll reach the end of the list. But you can see here, there are like probably 30-ish available just in the last 2 months, as opposed to 10 here. So, oops, sorry. 10 here, right? Like it's a very big difference. And so you're probably saying, well, what if they're being sent off to PSA to get graded, right? Let's take a look at the pop report. Just another way to check out the differences. And so go down here to PSA's website. You can see 422 total cards graded, 220 tens, so roughly half, right? And this obviously includes the non-rookies, the Giannis's, Steph's, Jokic, and you scroll down, you see here, Maxi has 19 cards here, 9 tens. LaMelo has 23 cards. And then the Ant-Man, remember the Ant-Man with the repeating sales at PWCC? 19 total tens. That seems really high compared to everybody else. And 37 total graded. Now, some of these might have been resubmits or regrades, cracks and regrades, but this is like a ginormous number, right? And you look at like these, all of these, touching double digits like 10, 11, 19 cards total graded. But this 37 and this 19 just sticks out like a sore thumb. It's the first thing that stuck out to me when I looked at it, right? And so now if we go over to the PSA website for 2021, scroll down, like obviously the number's going to be way less, but see right here, we look comparing 422 to 32 total grade, so less than 10%. We scroll down here, 2 cards, 3 cards, a 1 card for Kuminga, 3 for Jalen Green, 3 for Scotty Barnes, 3 for Suggs, 2 for Suggs, 3 for Kitty, 2 for Franz. No even PSA 10s for Franz, just 2 9s. And you're getting a sense of where I'm going with this. Like, you compare these numbers, and again, only 2 months have passed by, but why aren't these even being sold as raws when you first open them and when you first, break cases, break boxes, all that kind of stuff that happens within the first month or two when a product gets released, right? That's when most of the action and breaking and opening packs and boxes happen. It's not happening here. That's based off of, again, it's 2 months, but it just seems like nobody's really finding a lot of color blasts, and so it leads you to wonder why, right? It leads you to wonder why, and so if you take a look at the pricing, you can see here that most of there's 50 on eBay. There's 53 total boxes here available. You can see the you're trying to remove any team models, you pick your player, pick your team, breaks, slots, any of that kind of stuff, and just made this about the boxes that are available. There's 53 total boxes available, so they are abundantly available on eBay. And if we go to the sold tab and do this search, you'll see that they're regularly selling for 800, 700. 700, 800, 700, 700, 600, 700. So like right in that 600 to 800 range, probably closer to 750. That's a lot of money for any type of box. And so how many cards do you get with that? You get 4 cards per pack, 4 packs per box, 16 total cards. 4 autos and 4 parallels, which means 4 autos, 4 parallels, and 8 base, or inserts run this one in there, right? And this is when my theory comes into play. Let's see what that means from a numbers perspective. $750 for a box, 16 total cards. You're paying $47 per card from a box. That seems high. And these other numbers are here from a previous video, from my 2023 predictions video. So I've thrown Spectra in so that you can compare. Obviously, for Prism and Optic, there are a lot of base cards that are going to be useless. They obviously don't have 1 auto per pack. But all in all, if you're paying $50 per card, and you saw some of the prices for those color blasts, they're going for $1,000 to $2,000. So, and that's in a PSA 10, right? So it's like, okay, you get a case hit, and you might break even. Like, that's not a good ROI. And so my working theory is that the number of color blasts that are available are limited. Supply is very, very low because people have grown tired with Panini's pricing and how the ROI is, like, you're basically doomed. You're basically going to a really, really stacked casino, like stacked against you casino. You like if you want to burn your money, like just buy a box of almost any of these Panini products. And Spectra, I guess, is taking it on the chin. That's my theory. And I think these boxes just stay on the shelves, just stay at Blowout or distributors, whoever owns these things, and they just stay there. And I don't think that they're going to be opened anytime soon unless people start lowering the prices. And I don't think that's going to happen either because nobody really has any incentive to do so unless they're short on cash. And so I think the supply on these color blasts might stay low for a while unless there's a reason to open them. So that's kind of a canary in a coal mine for Panini as a whole. Is this a sign that the hobby, that investors, collectors, people that buy cards have finally woken up to the fact that Panini's pricing is way out of whack and the ROI is just absolute horrendous, like just awful. Like again, buy some lotto tickets instead. Go to the casino for like 3 hours. Like you're basically doing that by opening a box of anything from Panini based on the pricing and based on the number of cards you're going to get. I wonder if this is the first sign that the hobby is basically speaking with their wallet and or by keeping the wallet closed, right? So that's kind of the gist of the video. It's about Spectre, it's about Color Blast, but it's also about the fact that is there finally some pushback from the hobby in terms of Panini's pricing, and with other things happening in the world, obviously the economy, interest rates, yada yada yada, but more about all of the investors, the quote unquote flippers, all of those guys have left, and so Panini hasn't adjusted their pricing to match the demand, and as a result, a lot more product is going to be left on the shelf. That is kind of where I'm at, where the theory I'm trying to test out. That's a little bit of a hypothesis. I'm I'm kind of waiting to see what other data points come out that I can find. Sometimes they come in my head at 2 a.m. in the morning, but let's take a look at that data. And so if I come up with more data points like that I can look up and do some research on, I'll look into it. So that's the video today. It's about the color blasts and how they seem to be in short supply, but it's also about a bigger picture uh, topic about Panini's pricing. And so I should also, full disclosure, I did the number crunching on, I looked into all this stuff. So I did buy myself a Color Blast BGS 9.5 Scotty Barnes. In retrospect, it might have been the right product or the right card, maybe perhaps the wrong player. We'll see as that plays out. But I do believe that these Color Blasts are going to stay in relatively short supply for a while. And that's the whole video. It's not nothing too fancy, but it was one of those. Why do these numbers from one year to the next look so much more different? Despite the fact that this should be the time when they're the when more of them are being opened as people open boxes and packs. So, what do you guys think? Does that make sense to you? Are you seeing a bunch of stuff being sold on Blowout for Spectrum basketball? I admittedly am not too much in. I don't deal with any wax at all for all the reasons that I mentioned about in terms of pricing. So I don't buy wax. I don't open wax. I don't do anything with wax. So let me know what your thoughts are on this one. Obviously, it's both a very specific video about color blast, but it's a bigger picture, kind of overarching thought about Panini and basketball as a whole. And I think with this pricing, I've said this before, but I can't wait for Topps to get here and Fanatics to get here. Like, get these Panini guys out of here. They are horrendous. So that's the video for today. Would love to hear everybody's thoughts, whether or not you agree or disagree from both my thoughts on Color Blast and Panini pricing as a whole. Are there any data points that I can also look into as well to see whether or not this is true? And as we always do on the channel, I do a preview of my next video. And so that one will be about Sports Econ 201, how collectors and investors create the sports card economy, or and how it impacts pricing. And by that, I really mean the ratio between collectors and investors and how that influences pricing in both the short term and the long term. Now, I'm calling this 201 because it's a little bit more advanced. You'll notice there is not a sports econ 101 in my video history. I can do one if there's quest for it, but honestly, sports cards econ 101 is not that exciting to me. It's one of those like basic supply and demand things. Whereas this one, it's gonna be a little bit more involved in terms of modeling and building out some basic assumptions about how things work. And I'm kind of excited to put it together. I haven't actually put the materials and the slides and the graphs together, but I'm kind of excited for it. It's been a while since I've had to do something, a little bit more quote unquote hardcore econ related. I do have an economics background, but I haven't used it in a while, so the geek in me is ready to jump out for the next video. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you all liked it. Again, if you did, please feel free to subscribe and like the video. And I will talk to you about some econ in a week. So have a good week. Happy New Year, everybody. And I will talk to you all later. Cheers.